Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hey, another day above ground, eh? It's got to be a good day then. Hope you're feeling well. I'm feeling well. Thank you for asking. And I'm going to go a little bit outside my comfort zone. And I'll tell you for why. Because I'm going to just read a short poem on a book I got ages and ages ago. And it comes from a religious background. And am I religious? Maybe not so much. Do I believe in God? I think so. I really do think so. But I'm not 100% certain. But in this poem, it refers to my Lord. And I think if you're religious in that way, please take the words as they were meant to be written, or they were written and meant to be taken in. But also, I think you can take it as anything you like. I mean, I would take it as my unconscious mind, my best friend who's with me all the time. Could be a higher consciousness, whatever it is. So please just go with me, because I think this just puts things in a little bit of perspective when we're feeling a little bit anxious, when we're feeling a little bit fearful, or whether, well, you'll get it. And then I'm also going to talk about footprints as well, but perfect footprints. But this poem I'm going to read you is called Footprints, and it's by a lady who's got the most marvellous bloody name. Her name is Margaret Fishback Powers. What a name. And I'm just going to read this poem to you and just notice where it lies. But I say the termination of Lord, or how you take the word Lord in this poem, take it any way you choose, unconscious, higher conscious, whichever. Anyway, here's the poem. Footprints. One night I dreamed a dream. I was walking along the beach with my Lord. Across the dark sky flashed scenes of my life. For each scene I noticed two sets of footprints in the sand, one belonging to me and one my Lord. When the last scene of my life shot before me, I looked back at the footprints in the sand, and to my surprise, I noticed that many times along the path of my life, there was only one set of footprints. I realized that this was at the lowest and saddest times of my life. This always bothered me, and I questioned the Lord about my dilemma. Lord, you told me when I decided to follow you, you would walk and talk with me all the way. But I'm aware that during the most troublesome times of my life, there is only one set of footprints. I don't understand why. When I needed you the most, you leave me. He whispered, my precious child, I love you and will never leave you. Never ever, during your trials and testings. When you saw only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. Interesting poem from a lovely little book called Footprints. Now, whichever way you take that, when I took it as my unconscious mind, the name I have for my unconscious mind is you and I. I know in my darkest times, my unconscious mind has been there for me. My conscious mind has been, actually pissed off, basically. Just got out of the way because it was like fight, fright, freeze, all that stuff. But my unconscious mind just stepped up to the plate, looked after me, didn't let me down, and I guess carried me. So whichever way you take it, I just think it's an interesting poem that in your darkest times you will always be safe. You'll always be cared for. Whatever your beliefs, you will always be cared for. And things will always get better. You're always with yourself. You're never alone. You're never by yourself. You're always with yourself. They are the 3 sentences I always write in my journal, the beginning of every journal, because I know. Anyway, that aside of a sort, you might want to just listen and think about that. But the next one, about footprints, and this is how they come together, because I was thinking about perfect footprints in the sand, and I remembered that book and that poem. What the hell are you talking about, Cluffy? Perfect footprints in the sand. Well, what it is, it's a lovely little technique to center yourself. And it just makes so much sense to me anyway, because this is when I learned it in my NLP trainings. I got this guy was just about centering ourselves, because when you're centered, you can access all your resources. You can just be calm. You can be comfortable. You can take your awareness opens up, and I will teach another way of opening up your awareness even bigger and better. But at the moment, just perfect footprints in the sand. Because when you get your moment of getting out into the fresh air. Each day, just go out and get that fresh air. Look around. I always say, stop, pause, look above, look up, see wonderful things. If nothing else, just let the sunlight or the sky just come through you. But just before you do that, maybe just try this, because it feels so bloody good. I do it so many times. When I'm wandering, I stop when I'm taking the dog for a walk on the cliff tops, because when I'm near the cliff tops overlooking the beach and the sea, I'll just stop and I'll look out over the horizon, see this vast expanse of water. But not just that, I want to get centered while I do it. And here's how I do it. I just stand comfortably, knees just slightly bent. Just make sure your hips are nicely aligned and everything is nice and straight and tall. And then I just sway slightly forward and slightly back until I find that midpoint where it's if I'm perfectly balanced front and back. And then I'll go slightly to the right and then to the left. And then notice where I can just come into that just being balanced. So now I'm balanced front and back, right and left. You can go diagonally whichever way you want, just to make sure. It's because when you're perfectly balanced that way, you would make, if you imagined you were standing on the sand, you would make perfect footprints in that sand. And that's how it's taught to me. Just make those imaginary footprints in that imaginary sand so perfect. And then breathe into your center. Just feel the breath coming down into your center, wherever your center is. Some people call it just below your ribs, just below your belly button, in that place they call the hara. But wherever it is for you, it'd be perfect right there and then. But as you stand in that lovely place of just being totally balanced, and your mind comes into that center of you, right in that moment, you just know. Oh, it feels so good. I was imagining it. Well, that's why I drifted off a little bit. It is so nice. So it doesn't matter whether you're in, like I'm fortunate enough to stand at those cliff tops, but if you're just in the garden, if you're wandering around the streets to get some fresh air, or if you're at home, I do this at home sometimes. I just stand in the front room, or my lounge, or any room. It doesn't have to be one of those. And I just center myself, because it's my pausing, my stopping. And I'm not thinking of anything else other than getting centered. Feels good. Feels really good. And it's just another way of being aware of yourself. Mindfulness, maybe, I guess. All these different things. Maybe it's like you could call it a standing meditation for 2 or 3 breaths as you just go inside to that center. It does so much for you on so many levels. It's awesome. I'll teach you the next bit a little bit further along as we go along these mad days in the mad world of wherever we are. But I just wanted to center yourself. I love these things that we can just pause, stop, center, be as one. Be the aligned you. What would happen if you started singing from your own voice from that center? Do you know what it would sound like? You. Anyway, enjoy all of this. I hope you did. Hope the poem was nice, just to get you just thinking. This standing and making perfect footprints in the sand is an awesome little thing to do. And you're going to say to yourself, oh, Cluffy, this is so simple. Yeah, you're right. It is so simple. And what do we say? Oh, Albert Einstein came to our rescue a long time ago by saying, in simplicity, there is genius. So all that complicated stuff will deconstruct into simple, relatively easy, as we won't make it any more easy than it needs to be, but we certainly won't make it hard. All these wonderful processes to make you, the real you, to let the real you out, because you're not making the real you, are you? We're letting the real you out into reality. And by gum, that's going to be a good sight to see. And it'll feel good too. I hope you're enjoying these short little Mad World little episodes that I do every day. It's quite a thing to just keep coming up with different subjects. I don't know where they all come from. I just ask inside and they come up. But if you do have something that you think would be good to share, that I could ruminate on for a few moments, maybe a process you'd like to learn or something like that, please do email. Email me, sorry. Please do email me. You know where it is. Hopefully by now it's feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. If you think about it now, just pause. Send me that email right now. It's a personal email. Doesn't go into any list at all. My list is on the hypnosis site, which is paulcloughonline.com/podcast. Do that, sign up. That's when you get all the emails about new hypnosis and your personal link to the free hypnosis site. In fact, just an hour ago, I sent out another email putting out the hypnosis track about the roles that people play, that we play, how to cultivate them, how to make them into the way we really want, so we can live our life living the roles in such a way that we want it, so we can live our dreams and create the reality we want. So if you'd like that hypnosis track, obviously if you've signed up, you'll have got that email. You can click through. If you haven't got it, you didn't get the email because you didn't sign up, please do. Where was it again, Paul? paulcloughonline.com. Sorry, nearly forgot. /podcast. And if you would share this podcast to as many people as you could, just send it out and say, this bloke is awesome. As I told you, I was a magician once. And I am a magician when it comes to that therapy work. Anyway, enjoy. Have more fun than you can stand. Bye-bye now.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.